council meeting. I'm glad. I'm happy about this.
It's because I'm here.
Huh? Yeah, that's because Nancy. Anyway, today's topic, well, let's get a roll call, Mr. Petty.
All right, we got Councilperson Tony Abbott.
Here.
Councilperson Justin Nobbert.
Sir.
We got Councilperson Tommy Roulette absent. We got Councilperson Lenny Fryman.
Here.
Councilperson Brett Mondurant.
Yes, sir.
City Attorney Dale Weldon.
Here.
Mayor Kelly Malone.
Here.
And myself.
We were lucky to get Lenny off the golf course.
I just made it by the skin of my teeth.
Yeah, well, that's not an excuse. Okay, well, the topic for today is to talk about the riverfront project. We are approximately, and I'll let them do all the details, but we're approximately 30% design phase. The next phase or next hurdle will be at about 90% design phase that will get presented to the Army Corps, correct? That's correct. We've got some preliminary numbers, and I want to highlight that the numbers are very preliminary because we're only 30% into the design phase. And Lenny, you need to turn your phone off or else you'll
Yep.
pizza. Anyway,
Guess who that was?
so just remember that, we all knew this was going to be a really good project for downtown and a sort of a iconic changing project for the area. And but I just wanted to emphasize that these are preliminary, okay? Numbers will get more solid the further along we get in design. So with that, I mean, I don't know who's going to go first, but have at it.
Matt's going to introduce everything.
Yep. Good afternoon. It's great to see everyone again. Matthew O'Rourke with American Structure Point. I've been working on this project mostly with the folks to my left and right, and I'll let them introduce themselves as they come up. But I think the mayor did a great job of summarizing everything as where we're at in the process. I think the only thing I wanted to add to that is, the last time we were here, we were still kind of figuring out some of the bigger design choices, in particular the handicap ramp situation and how that comes to the barges, and kind of made some decisions along those lines. So since then, we've really been digging into the details, flushing out what the materials would be due to weights and stresses and all those things. And that's what we need to start doing, is digging into those details to get to the initial cost estimates and really start moving towards those 90% drawings. So we're at a really good spot to sort of show that to everybody, show where the design has gone to this point. And I'll turn it over to Nancy, who's going to go first. So she'll on the wet side, and then we'll go through the whole project. So thank you.
All right. So since I've last updated you guys, I'll go. Here we go. This is where we started. This was the original concept. And as we've gotten into the engineering and spacing things out and with trying to realizing how close to Indiana the state line is within the Ohio River, when we first laid this out, I think we assumed it was in the middle. We've kind of done some shifting to keep everything in Indiana so we don't have to share with Kentucky. But this is where we're at right now. We've got our debris boom. We've got still two big 140 by 80 parks, 2 restaurants, a restroom, and then a walkway in between, and transient boating. I've got some blow-ups of each of the different sides. So here is the one where we're keeping this existing gangway onto a 140 by 80 barge. This is where the transient boats will park in these 2 floating docks right here. And you'll have access to the restaurant and the, come on, why is it so low? There we go. The restroom barges that will be in between the 2. And then on the right-hand side with the newer gangway, here we go, refitting the existing cast-in-place concrete foundation that's up at the flood wall, providing an intermediate landing area with benches where you can overlook. It will be sort of like a bridge, so you can drive underneath it to keep that fire road open, and then another gangway access down to the floating barge. And turning this barge along the river actually gave us more barge area because of the landing that's on top of the barge to get us to it. It took up so much space with stairs and ramps and everything. This actually let us get there and not take up as much space on the barge. We've also realigned the debris boom so that it will shed more of the debris and also keep it within the state line. You'll see where it gets really close right here. So that was one of the big things, the big changes that we were looking at.
Can you go back to the overall picture? I just want to explain some things for the people that haven't been to this meeting before.
Yep.
The concept. For those of you that haven't seen this yet, this is the original gangway we got right now. It goes down to Riverwatch. This will all be a brand new barge. This will be the transient docks that she's talking about, something we don't really have. Okay? And then you're going to have this floating walkway in between here and the restroom barge.
Yep.
Okay? That way you don't have to go through any part of the restrooms to get to the restroom barge.
That's also where the mechanical, electrical, and all of that will be housed as well.
This is the larger of the barges where Mike's would be, and then this is the smaller of the barges where we're talking to another restaurant here in town.
Good.
And then this will be the new gangway to another area where you're going to be able to have even outdoor seating both ends here. But the other thing is this debris boom that they're talking about. And I think you met with Norbert today.
Yes.
I spoke with the guy, he's from Akron, Ohio, that has done these all along the Ohio River. And in fact, I asked him to get us a field trip to the one that's down here in Patriot at some point here. So we'll take a little field trip, go down and put eyes on one of them. But I got to talk to him as well last week and things. You see this large boat here? This is, we have been approached for years by like B&B riverboats. To either come down and do a dinner cruise once in a while or drop people off. People want to come to Lawrenceburg and go up and enjoy the concerts or shopping. This is going to give us an opportunity to be able to do that with a larger boat like that. I mean, it's pretty basic on how we laid it. I think it's where it's laid out, but it's going to serve all the needs that we have down there. So I don't know if there's anything you guys, if I missed anything. I just wanted to share that for people that haven't seen it before. So, but yeah, okay, you can go forward.
Okay, let me go quickly. So some of the little details that we've been looking at, obviously the handrail, that's going to be almost everywhere. They're going to use it up at the top of the levee. It's going to be around all of the barges and on that intermediate platform, so you can't fall off that platform. We're looking at embedding these umbrella holders into the base so you can kind of have places where you can put umbrellas and benches, but multiple places. We're gonna, at the last meeting, we decided that we were gonna use some colored concrete to depict different areas of the barges themselves. It's easy to clean. It's relatively, has a good lifespan. Slip resistant, so all of those things. So, and then for the one thing I don't think we discussed was the transient floating dock, whether we wanted to do a concrete floating dock to match the concrete on the park barges, or if we were going to do a fiberglass grating or another type of
The decking?
yes,
Composite
decking. Thank you, composite decking. At 3 o'clock, alarm clock was
I thought I was the
getting
only
me.
one that just hung up like that.
The composite decking to match some of the things they're doing up in the top. So just something to think about. It's not something we have to decide right now, but something that, to kind of tie the two together would be good. And then the cost estimate. So I know that's really small, so I have some some blown up pieces of it.
The text is small.
Yeah, the text is small. So the barge work, we're looking at about $8.5 million to get the barges, all the floats, the gangways, and things like that. And then the site development, all the piles, concrete, that kind of thing, at 4.2 million. The debris diverter's about $500,600,000. So we're about $15 million right now for the wet side.
And what I want to caution everybody is, you know, and you're going to see the same thing on the dry side estimate. There's no contingency built into this at this point. There will be at the next point, at the 90%. But also will be that 15 million will be broken down probably a lot closer to what the actual will be as well.
Correct.
Just so we're all
So you
not
mean,
running out of here and
Oh my gosh.
you mean it could be more or less?
more or less, yeah.
More or less, yes.
And then, but the thing is, you guys still, I mean, there's things, I mean, we can cut, I mean, but I think we all knew that this was gonna be a major project.
Mm-hmm.
One thing that you won't see, that you didn't see in the picture, was the beacon. The beacon came back at a $3 million price tag itself. So I took the liberty of saying, no, thank you.
Just talk to the utility department, have them put a tall pole in the light.
Actually, there were some ideas thrown around that we might be able to do like Lawrenceburg lighted on some of the,
Yeah.
on the gangway or something like that. So I'll talk to our lighting
I
department
think
and
there's
see how
other
much.
things we can do
Yeah.
to enhance, to let people know it's Lawrenceburg.
I
Yeah,
think we could we could put a tall pedestal out there and put Tony on top of it with a couple lights. And hold him around.
I really thought he was gonna say a Ferris wheel.
Now you said any better.
Yeah,
So anyway, I just want to make sure everybody, you know, knew that. I mean, this is just talking about the wet side, I mean, it's a pretty all-inclusive project. I mean, I think it's gonna be a place where people are gonna want to make the trip to come to.
Destination, yeah.
A destination, which has been our vision from the very beginning, right, Brian? But it just enhances the destination into Lawrenceburg with everything else that we got going on as well. So this is for years and years and years to come.
so
Anyway, go ahead.
I do have a few pieces of literature from the debris boom manufacturer that we've been talking to. So this is what we're thinking about putting out there. And this is how thick it is. So this is actually gonna really protect, the investment. And this is all, you can see they're all filled with foam insulation, so they won't sink even at 60 miles an hour. They've both tested this stuff. Here, I'll pass that down for you. So I think it's actually gonna be a really good, option for us, so.
And like I said, he's gonna get with us and figure out a time when we can go take a look. So anybody that'll wanna take a look, we'll send out an email to you and let you know, and we'll go.
Yep.
Nancy, I know that's just a section.
Yes.
How big are they?
They come 24 inches or 36 inches. And they'll have a 2 to 3 foot screen on the bottom to catch things that are just below the water surface, and then it'll deflect everything above the water and push it downriver. So,
Where's this going at?
The hope is that we push the majority of it out.
right,
Some things during high, I mean, it's gonna get through.
yeah.
Like large trees.
Should push it out. He said
should
that
push
this
it out.
will not this will not collapse or
Nope.
move or anything.
Really?
So,
I mean,
We got some pretty.
yeah.
oh, yeah.
Got one down there right now.
Yes. Actually, he was just down here today and looked at the site and has done quite a bit of work on the Ohio River. Knows the spot, knows what we're dealing with, and he's the one that's recommended. This is their biggest and beefiest product.
Say that's that a Patriot?
I don't, no, that one is not. A replica of what we would be getting is down there, but it's not with that material.
Yeah, it's a
Yeah.
thinner material that's down at Patriots Point, but that's, but it's the same, it's basically the same idea, so.
Yeah, if you feel that, it's pretty solid.
Pretty solid.
You think it's gonna be
That's where it's from.
circular?
Yes, circular, and then yep,
Things just slide along it.
yep.
Into
They
the water.
just, and it's solid too. It's not, there's not gaps in it or anything. It'll be
Right.
like 40-foot solid section, so things are not gonna really get through. So,
Well, the main thing is, you know, we want to protect the investment
absolutely, absolutely.
as best we can. So,
Definitely.
So, that's all I had unless there were other questions we wanted to go through on the water side.
Anybody got any questions for Nancy on
I'll put this back up.
any of this? I think this is sort of the design we had talked about, and that's what we came up with the last time they were here. And now it's a matter of, it'll keep going forward to the 90% design phase, and we'll hone in on the cost even better.
Were we able to get fairly close to ADA compliance on the new gangway with normal water
We are,
conditions?
yes, yes. This one is ADA compliant completely, right here to the intermediate landing. And then this one is just about there at normal pool elevations. And with changing, like pushing this one out just a bit, we got that one to be ADA
Oh,
compliant.
you were, that's good.
Yeah,
Excellent.
at normal pool elevations. So, which is why it doesn't have a ramp to it. So,
So what is it, one of the docks are gonna sit long ways like this and the other one's gonna sit like this, or not both gonna be?
Just like that.
correct, just like this.
And then the,
You actually get more riverfront access and more riverfront view this way, to be really honest.
I like the landing, even where you,
to have the
on the
other
first causeway. the benches
I mean,
there.
I could see people sitting up
Oh,
there,
yeah. They
taking
don't wanna come all the way
pictures.
down, but Yeah, absolutely.
Great photo ops there.
Yep, absolutely.
On the transient docking, is it on one side, like Trina's got it shown, it's like they dock on the side?
They, as long as I think the water elevations are appropriate, but yes, they can dock on both sides if there's enough water, based on what they draw,
I
so.
would say the one on the outside you probably could for sure more.
And I was just wondering, I mean,
That's a good point.
Yep,
15?
because you know they will.
that's what I was
I mean, they'll be rafted together in between them, you know?
They will.
Yeah, all the way across. So,
Excuse me, what,
Yeah, I
Or the other.
you have the,
the other
so the
dolphins,
section
are gonna use
going
any
like
of the
this.
dolphins for this connection?
I agree with you.
no,
The dolphins
we're
that are
gonna
down
do
there?
all new piling.
All the dolphins will be gone? Wow.
So this one right here will go away. It'll be a partial demolition to get it basically down to mud line. We will most likely leave this one in place unless we decide that we want to demolish it, but we are not going to reuse it.
Okay.
And then the other one was where the beacon may or may not go in 10 years.
Tony, is that Lenny's idea?
Yeah,
Mine is the first, Will. I'm just waiting. We're gonna get it.
You know, if you tilt your head and squint just right, you might see.
you might see the person.
Okay.
Any other
It
questions?
looks awesome.
Yeah,
What we can see, I think it's gonna really be a game changer in this town.
I think it's gonna be really cool.
Mm.
It's really, really coming together. Okay.
Ready?
As soon as Mr. Fetty finds money.
Yeah.
It's more pictures, so it's good. Let's see. We got to get you to the barges. All right, from beginning. Look at that new logo. I'm Jocelyn Hinshaw with American Structure Point, for those of you who were not here at the last meeting. We will go through a little bit of it again. Here, right here, everybody knows why we're here. Another pretty picture. Nancy, that's your most recent one. The blue things were the restaurant roofs. That big boat moved in years 9. I don't know why. We are looking at, here we go, reusing that walkway up. We looked at replacing it. We looked at widening it. Given the structural drawings that are there, it would be so hard to tear out and change, especially given that on a levee we can't dig more than 3 feet. We may not move that, which makes it really hard to put new foundations in. And so that walkway is not ADA compliant, but we can't change it, unfortunately. We are still looking at putting that AV landing pad in right there at this spot right at the end of where everybody comes down and parks right now to the existing gangway. There we go. Changing this sidewalk to be accessible, and then that gangway is fully accessible. So that is our fully accessible route if you take the AV or a vehicle down that way. This concrete road needs to stay. And at the top is the big Riverwalk Promenade, right, is what we're thinking of it now. Originally, in the original presentations, we had these big concrete overlooks and decks and extended out. That was going to be really expensive to cantilever the concrete. And so what we're looking at now is the part where the drive is now is a 3-foot deep concrete monolith that's holding out cantilevered boardwalk with the composite decking on it, which is going to give a real Riverwalk feel. It'll get you out over the rock a little bit. And we would love to be able to match some materials out on the barges to tie it all together. And make it look a little bit different too. A lot of the other materials are going to be the similar as Civic Park. We're going to have a lot of big boulders, similar benches with those natural materials, and give it that riverfront feel, even though we are way up high above the levee. A lot of new little connection pieces. Once we get down to the connection from the street out to this new gangway connection, the more we thought about it, right, we weren't showing much in the original concepts. All the construction staging is going to be coming through there, and that pavement will get torn up. So we need to look at replacing that and being able to repair that anyway. Walking out there today, almost getting run over by a car. So many people will be coming back and forth down the new gangway and milling around that area between the convention center and the parking lot. We're looking at moving those bollards up a little bit, redoing that pavement so it's all protected from that part out. Let's get a little bit zoomed in. All the way up to the gate area, so that that feels like part of the grand entrance, right, to the barges.
Maybe just point out where the bike path, the bike station is. I think that'll help.
I know it's tiny on the screen. It's not going to help me much. You click, I'll point.
Okay, I can do that.
This helps. Right. This is the existing stairway up. The existing stair concrete will stay. There's the existing ADA ramp, and that's the road that comes up now. So right now, there's sort of a line of bollards up this way. We're going to move all that up and improve that area too. If we're going to replace the pavement anyway because of construction damage, we may as well make it look nice as part of the entrance.
So will those be removable bollards?
They can be removable or collapsible.
Because we'll have to be able to get to the other side of the clock tower to work on it.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and
You can lift them up. You can get the heavy ones that you can lift.
yeah, and creating a bollard situation to limit access to the access road was always part of the proposal. We're just pushing it a little further out to protect the pedestrians as well, basically.
But it gives you a big safe gathering space in there. And I think people will be there no matter what, so we may as well put that over here. And enhancing this area. More people are going to be transferring into the gate. There we go, we got lunch. This is minimized compared to what you saw in the earlier options, simply because when we looked at the structural ability to cantilever very much, not change Ivy Tech, and not disturb their foundation, we really couldn't do much. We got a foot or two more pavement, but we weren't going to cantilever out there. which is a little more cost effective, right? Just try and widen up. It is not technically trail width, right? So we won't be able to call that part of trail. This is all very wide, so you'll be able to get the AV vehicle and a full trail width paths and clear zones on those. But that is a little narrow. We just couldn't get the width to cantilever out anymore, so a little bit wider. Again, a lot of these stone edges, the same way Civic Park has, so you get more of an edge in an enclosed field. People will be able to sit along the edge like a promenade. We're gonna have a lot of furniture out there in these little zones with canopies overhead. All of this part that's sticking out past that line is the decking. Concept-wise, we're looking at 2 different colors, try and break that up so it's not just one big mass of pavement or one different color of just, because it is really long and really wide now. That's up for design decisions later though. Cost-wise, it made a lot more sense to do the decking, so we're still coming out of that. I'm gonna keep clicking through. We have a lot of railing, and cost-wise, railing was a big piece of it because it's custom, it's in arcs, it's going up and down elevations. Very messy at the sides. All this yellow is the existing railing that's going to get cleaned, take the blue off, nice black finish put on, but that's the same railing. All the red is new custom rail that matches the barge rail in this riverfront sense.
That stainless, we were talking about it.
Same picture that Nancy showed in her slide deck. Yep.
Same picture, you can have stainless or black. We can decide if we want to match the black and keep it with just a different style, or if we want to switch to stainless for riverfront. Maybe it switches at this point so that it on the lower levels. Cost. We broke it out. Total, we're at 6.1. A lot of that is demo because we just have very small, picky areas to work in, and it's going to be difficult for them. It's going to be a lot of hand labor. Truckloads are going to be small. You can't get big equipment up here. And so we did end up with unit prices that were higher than you would think if it were parked just anywhere. That pushed the cost up a little bit. We might have a little bit of overlap in some of the mobilization depending on how we bid the project, right? Those are the things we're still working out. But
So is everything brought in on the dry side, for the dry side?
at the very lowest piece, where the existing gangway, I think might be able to overlap, but everything else otherwise is coming up the road, which is gonna have to be milled and resurfaced.
So did we look at material being barged in and craned up?
It's not, excavation would be just as expensive going that way, right down the hill, rather than the other way.
But you would offload onto a barge and,
You can offload onto a barge rather than a truck.
yeah.
It's really the labor of very carefully excavating right next to the convention center walks, right next to those foundations of the Ivy Tech, that it's just not big equipment, right? You have a little bobcat taking very careful small loads, and we have to go 3 feet straight down. And so there's gonna be a lot of forming and protection, and so that pushed those demo numbers up.
Because we'll have a very specific route that they would have to use. I think that's where Mark is going with some of that.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we'll have to be very cautious of that.
And constrained with the contract about what times it can do a lot of the work, which is almost
Right.
takes a little bit more time. Let's flip through, I did break down some of the costs, you can see what's in there. Lighting adds up quickly. We're gonna use those existing bases, put new light poles on there. We have several assumptions about being able to reuse some of this and clean it or resurface it, hoping to save a little money. But again, there are unknowns really at this point, so those are pretty good numbers. Click one more. The improvements is a long list, right? It's just like building a nice park, like building Civic Park up here, right? With the custom furnishings and materials. Concrete, but it's gonna be nicely finished concrete. Not necessarily looking at coatings because we want it to be durable. So we're looking at embedded aggregate and finishing it that way. And a lot of guardrail. So,
Well, I think it's a bigger area than what I think we think it is
it is.
for the whole project. I mean, it's a surface area, it's a lot of area. Once again, I mean, we'll be able to hone in on details that you guys are looking at, talk to council, and then costs surrounding that as we get closer to the 90% design phase. That's the next milestone, because that has to be submitted to the Army Corps at that point. But thus far, the Army Corps has been involved in the calls, so I think I don't think there's going to be big red flags or surprises.
Yeah, in fact, they've received a preliminary set just to give us their cost estimate for design reviews and all that stuff. So they're in the loop on this. They've been in the loop the whole way. Absolutely.
Okay. Questions, guys?
At the end. Oh,
You guys got
One
any
more
questions out in the audience? I mean,
I think we got some questions, but we need to see more of what we're gonna look at than like this. I mean, there's things we wanna ask, but we don't know what to ask.
Well, I think it, and
Makes
then,
sense.
good point.
Sure.
When we get closer to that 90%, I think we're gonna be able to have some real-life renderings
Yeah.
of what it's gonna look like. It's hard to tell on black and white to me, how amazing it's gonna look, right? Because once you start putting in the furniture, you put in the rocks, and you put in the other thing, the guardrails and everything, and then you have some sort of 3D pictures or whatever, I think it's gonna be pretty enlightening.
And you say we're pretty close with the Corps of Engineers on all this, or is there some things we've not got? Or?
I think it'd be safe to say they've been in the loop the whole way. They haven't started their review yet. So we've been working with them consistently throughout the whole process to make sure we're designing this in a way that safeguards against all the questions they've been asking us.
So kind of the design that you've got, you're pretty much sure that that's gonna happen that way, as of right now.
So far, we
So far.
designed inside their guidelines.
Yeah.
Yes.
But it does go to extra people once it goes.
Yeah, I mean, once they have the review and they actually start digging into the plan sets, they might come up with something else. I can't guarantee you that at this point.
And most of that's on the dry side.
Yeah,
Because
yeah,
the wet side, it really doesn't affect the
Right.
Army Corps.
yeah,
Yeah,
the
we have
gangway
to
connection
submit
and,
to the Army Corps, to get like approvals and things, and they
Because
send
you're
it out
touching-
to, because we're touching, a water body of the US. And so, but they send it out to, the Coast Guard and the fish people, and just to get comments of, is this gonna affect anything? So, and the
Right.
Coast Guard's gotta get it on their chart maps and things like that.
Now, one more thing, I don't know how the boundaries go. I always hear the Ohio River is boundaried by Kentucky. Is
They
this
have it on
gonna
here.
bother anything?
That's Arkansas.
we have that in our drawings.
It's drawn on here, Lenny, if you look right there.
Oh,
I don't think it was on
ours-
this
ours
one.
has that.
Yeah, it's on Nancy's. I'll get it back.
So
Kentucky's-
that's part of the reason why we turned the one barge, is because
Okay.
that red line is the state line.
Oh, okay.
And we were actually over it, and so actually one of the Army Corps reviews that we did, and I'm meeting with them, they're like, well, you guys are really close to the state line, if you're over it, you're gonna have to do permitting through Indiana and Kentucky.
Yeah.
And then we were like, we don't wanna do that.
Yeah.
So,
So what we're gonna do out there on that red line, we're gonna put a big buoy up that says, "Welcome to Indiana."
There you go.
I'm gonna paint Indiana
Yeah.
on that outer pile.
There you go. State line.
So back to the dry side,
Yeah.
part of that's gonna be cut off. I mean, where would that, so basically there's not gonna be any traffic past a certain point? And what about like delivery trucks and stuff? Would they park on the other side of the wall, or where would all of that?
That's a great question, and I was gonna explain to those two out there, Mike and Mike, deliveries, there will be won't be any more deliveries coming down. It'll all have to be wheeled down.
Oh, they're gonna love that.
I know it. But, so
I
that,
put it on the man.
I was just wondering how, there's a place for like deliveries trucks
I wanna
to
put it on
park
the unmanned car.
beyond, or is there gonna be like, would they?
We'll have to start shipping via barge.
they've always parked up there in
that area's gonna
Oh,
be cut
that.
off, right? That whole area's gonna be cut off?
No,
No?
no, not the whole area. They're just moving the bollards back a little bit.
Like
Yeah,
right
But there will
front
still
of,
be a-
like, the entrance to the hotel?
Yes.
Yeah,
There'll
that,
still be a place up there to turn a truck around.
yeah, and you'd still be able to access the parking deck the same way you do now, right there,
Yeah, I was
through
just-
vehicles.
So they should be able to.
The other thing too is they're gonna have access to an ADA ramp, which a mechanical pump jack, they could run a whole skid down, it's gonna be wide enough
Right,
gangway to
right.
run a whole skid down with a mechanic, powered
The
pump
beer
jack.
guys do that now.
Yeah, right.
Do they now?
Yeah.
So, I mean, you'll be able to get the material through there.
And the other thing is, there's like, right next to the railroad, there's like a roadway down there that, that you can get access, they drove all the way around it, you can get access to over there by the casino and all the way down to the other park down there. So will those be cut off as far as any traffic being allowed to drive along there?
Well, that's not ours. That's
Well,
the
it's-
LCD.
you won't be able to get through the gate. The gate will be shut.
That's what I'm saying, I mean, because you got all that and all of a sudden
And they
you
took
get in
the
there and all of a
crossing
sudden
out.
Yeah, the
we're-
crossing's removed.
Well, they can't, they won't be able to get up. They won't be
So,
able to.
okay, that's what I was wondering. Okay, so that will be cut off, they will not be able
And not down
to
here.
go up that ramp anymore?
No,
It'll be open.
no, no,
Okay,
There'll be
We
bollards there.
Bike can be
Yeah,
rid of the
we
bike.
that's what I'm saying,
no. You
yeah.
can't,
But they'll
you can't get in
normally-
with the road down
The
by,
campground?
Yeah.
because it's LCD.
Boat club.
Yeah,
But you can't up
You're talking
by the-
about the
Yacht
ramp.
club.
Yeah, to be
Yeah.
able to get
Yeah,
to
but
the ramp.
if they need to get their vehicles down there for maintenance purposes,
Yeah, it's,
yeah.
It's like, it's in there, the whole city comes up there.
Yeah, I mean, they'll be able to get their vehicles down there for maintenance and things if they need to through the removable bollards. And the landing here is being designed, it's 12 or 15 feet high.
it's 15.
15 feet high, and
And
the
12
piers are going to be set as absolute close to the shoreline as possible, so you can still get a vehicle under it.
Yeah.
We've been
I
keep,
heard that you could get underneath.
Yeah,
Yeah,
there's
we've
12
been-
foot clearance between the piles, between the insides of the piles.
right, and we've been very deliberate in that to make sure that
High enough.
that condition's maintained for the LCD.
Questions? Any more questions? Good question. Okay.
We brought decking samples if anybody wants to take a look after the meeting or during.
This is the sample.
Yeah, there's a lot of samples this meeting.
Was we supposed to talk about the walkway, if we was want to put grade or concrete, or was that later on?
We can do that. We can do that
Later on?
Thank you, guys.
No, thank you.
Thank you, everyone, yeah.
Yeah.
Appreciate it. Next step, I mean, we at least, want to get to the 90%.
Yep.
See what everything's going to look like.
Absolutely.
The structural work's really close to 90.
Yeah,
So-
they can't design it in percentages. They pretty much just, for the cantilevered system, they just have to design the whole thing at once to make sure it works. So that's a lot further along than some of the other pieces, for sure.
Okay. Well, if no other questions, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved, Your Honor.
Second?
Second.
All in favor? Opposed?
Did we ever ask to open this up?
Thank you.
So
I don't remember that.
for
Didn't he call
You
you?
was at